Welcome back to the Breaker Bros, and tonight we're gonna kind of recap the preseason, I guess training camp a little bit, and then I guess make a few predictions about the final 53-man roster, and I guess talk about everything in between. But do you want to talk about?
It's been a while since we've been streaming, so I guess we took the preseason off, right?
Yeah, we went like overseas, just kind of refreshed, recharged our batteries, because we know it's gonna be a long season. But I guess, did you want to talk about the roster or kind of the preseason first?
I don't remember the preseason. You can go ahead and talk about it. Did we win?
No, we did not win any games. But oddly, going 0-3, I felt pretty good. I mean, I guess the first game against the Bucks, really the highlight was even though the first string offense played against the second string defense of the Bucks, they went down and they scored. Joe Burrow looked good. T. Higgins had a touchdown. Yosavash had a big play. And then even on defense, that following series, they got the Bucks offense to go 3-and-out. Yeah. After that, it was kind of shaky. I think there was a lot of concerns about the defensive line, but it seemed like things kind of progressed throughout the preseason. And I guess one of those things was Dax Hill. I think going into preseason, it seemed like DJ Turner was going to be the other starting cornerback. But I guess as of late, where we are right now, I'm hearing Dax might actually be the starter. But I think you'll see a lot of the top three. I mean, obviously, Cam Taylor-Britt will be the solidified cornerback number one. But yeah, I think with Dax, you can do a lot of games and move him around. And I think DJ Turner is going to be in a lot because, especially with Lou, I feel like he likes to use a lot of defensive backs. But I don't know. I feel a lot more comfortable with their defensive backs now than what I did, like, I guess, more in the offseason.
Well, I mean, I think last year the biggest problem was that the safety position was pretty shaky, and they really fixed that, right? They signed Geno Stone, and then they brought back our favorite guy.
Yeah, I think maybe last year they went a little bit too young, and maybe they thought, speed can make up for inexperience. And then I think this year we got like a good mix of experience, but still like young players that, can cover a lot of ground. So I feel like...
Yeah, I want to say that it was a mistake to go too young at the safety position where you didn't have any continuity. And you didn't really have a strong veteran presence. Like, they had veterans, but they weren't good, like not really top line NFL starters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got Von Bell, who's like, I mean, he's our MVP at safety. I think in terms of this stream, right? We have a lot of love for Von Bell. Yeah, but I think having Von Bell with young athletic safeties makes a ton of sense, because then you get kind of like the on-field coaching. You get to have the pro in the locker room.
He sets the tone.
Yeah, he's a tone setter, right?
I think so. Yeah.
No, he's number one tone setter. So what else were you talking about?
Well, we're just kind of recapping the preseason a little bit, and then I guess going into the Bears game, I felt like the backups really played well, because it was one of those games where I'm pretty sure the backup defensive players played the majority of the first half, and we were going against the Bears' first string offense. Yeah, it's funny because, like, don't get me wrong,
for the most part.
Literally for the most part, I think all the way through until like the last 2 minutes of the first half, 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, but I think their receiver one wasn't playing, right?
No, I think most of their starting receivers were playing, I believe.
Maybe the guy from the Chargers. Who's the guy from the Chargers they signed?
Okay, you might be right. I didn't realize.
Yeah, but I mean, the other guys are going to start. But I think it was sort of like the Bengals' number one offense without Jamar, right?
Yeah, but there were like they made them go out. Or no, I'm starting to get them confused with the Colts, but no, I mean for the most part, the defensive looked pretty good. I mean, and then the offense was pretty shaky, but I think the thing that people were looking at were just like the backup offensive linemen, and I think that's when Matt Lee really started to kind of shine. I'm not sure if you heard any buzz about him, but it just seemed like after the Bears game, like people really wanted to see more of Matt Lee.
Well, I think before the preseason, and I think you even talked about this maybe on one of our last streams prior to this one, about how you thought Matt Lee was going to be like the steal of the draft. Him and Josh Newton. There's a lot of buzz about those guys early in training camp, but I mean, anytime when the draft turns into like rookie camp, there's like every single team puts out like how great like the guys they drafted in the 6th and 7th round were. So I never really put much stock into it, but I mean, he's played well.
And I guess we'll eventually transition to this, but while we're talking about it, since you said draft, just looking back at it, I feel like they had a pretty solid draft. I mean, if you just look up and down the roster or the, draft, it feels like they got what they needed. They found pieces that actually fit into their puzzle, and it just like they got people that could potentially play now and be have impact plays, but then they also have people where they can kind of develop and get them to where they need to be. But if you just, I mean, like Mims looked really good when he played in the first game. Like he didn't miss a beat. It just looked natural to him. And then Jenkins, he looked rough in the first game, but then ever since then, he looked really good in the Bears game. I do remember that because I think he got a sack. He had that really nice spin move where you don't really see many defensive tackles where they do those spin moves. So it's just like for him to bounce back and to perform the way he did, like it kind of, because that first preseason game looked kind of rough. I'm like, oh, I don't know, but like, because like the one thing about him is that he's strong. But that was his first NFL game, and especially going against people that have been playing a while, like they're going to have a little bit of an edge, and it just seemed like he learned a lot from the first game because he didn't like the second. It was like night and day. It seemed like. Did you like watch most of the games, or you just didn't really watch most of the preseason?
I think we watched them together. Remember?
Well, I thought we watched the first game together. Oh yeah,
and the second one, yeah.
We didn't watch the third game. That's right.
Yeah, we didn't watch the third game. I watched the highlights of the third game, but like
that makes sense because I feel like I remember things a little bit more than what I would. But
yeah, no, we watched it
together when we were kind of like talking about it in the moment. So it was just like But yeah, no, like I just felt like some of those things stood out, and even though like we lost most of the games, it just felt like. For the most part, we were playing a lot of our backups, and they were playing pretty well considering the majority of the time out of the 3 games, I think it's starters or I guess players above their rank.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the best part about the preseason is that Burrow played a few snaps, played a series, and he's going to be good to go. Knock on wood. Good to go for week 1, but like there aren't really major questions. He looks like he's ready to go. But yeah, I agree. I think like the offensive line seems to be looking good. Defensive line looks pretty good. Or defense in general seems to be playing well. So
yeah, that was one of the highlights, especially going into this Colts game, which I think pretty much highlighted.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing that we haven't talked much about, but like Jermaine Burton looks like he can play, right?
Yeah, no, I have that in my notes.
Yeah, and they have him like buried in the depth chart. So
supposedly he was sleeping in a meeting or something. It was like I don't know. It's just like that's how old school football can be sometimes. It's like if you do something like that, even though obviously he's got talent. I mean, you put him in, and it just seems like if you throw the ball to him, he's gonna catch it. Like he wants it more than the other person for the most part. And then like because I think the first pass he had against the Colts, like it was just a little bit, like he didn't really have the defensive back beat, but like he still had like I guess an arm length ahead. I just feel like if Joe Burrow was throwing it to him, he would have hit him on his outside shoulder, and I think he would have had an opportunity to catch it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just like getting his fingertips on it. But yeah, no, it just seems like every time he got into the game, he was making a crazy catch for like a first down or like a touchdown. It's like definitely impact player. But I guess
another preseason note from the resident old guy. Not a fan of the kickoff. Not a fan.
I'm a fan. I like it.
I don't like it. It's too different.
Charlie Jones, Colts game.
It's like a 30-yard return.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. It's it does make the only thing I'll say is that we will see a lot more big plays, and I just think that the problem with that, when you see a lot of those big plays, it kind of takes away from it. You know, it doesn't make it as exciting if you always.
I mean, to me, I'd rather see him punt it. Why not just set up like a punt?
That makes more sense to me because it's like, or it might just be as simple as like the defense will, or like you have to start running a little bit sooner than when they actually catch the ball.
The thing is, like, who is going to call the penalty on the defense moving early? Like, nobody can see it, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, like, if you say, like, you're a referee, right, and you got to watch the guy catch the ball, and then
but
you got to turn and look and see if the defense moved, right?
No, but there's more than one. I'm sure there's like, I think in total 5 on the field. So I'm sure there's just one. Or maybe
talk about old guy moment. All those referees are older than me, and they're going to be able to see.
What I'm saying is they have enough to where a few can just focus to see if the people are catching it properly or whatever. Then they have a few that can see if they're moving.
Just wait when they start throwing penalty flags. It's just going to be like stupid.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's like not like it's such a contrived thing where
I bet it's one of those
the
things
defense can't move until the ball's caught. But that never happens in football.
Maybe they have to look at the official to see like a hand motion before they can start moving. Like they have
the defense can see the guy catch the ball.
Yeah, but maybe they have to look at the ref to see when they can go.
I don't know. That doesn't seem fair then.
Why is that not fair?
Because there's an extra beat then.
Well, yeah. I honestly I don't know.
Do they blow a whistle when he catches it?
Honestly, the way I would imagine it working would be there's 2 officials or maybe just one specifically watching until he catches the ball, and as soon as he catches the ball, he does like a hand signal, and then when that other ref sees that hand signal, he makes a hand signal, and then everyone goes.
I'd be for it if they had a starter's pistol. How about that? So the guy catches it and nobody can move until bang, right? Like the start of a sprint.
Yeah, I mean
that would seem more fair, right? Because then it's like you're looking for no motion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know all the details of it, but I think it does make the game a little bit more exciting.
I mean, like do you know like the first base rule?
Please. Huh?
Do you know like the first base rule?
Like what do you mean
in baseball?
All in the runner gets there at the same time?
Yeah, but when is it a catch?
What do you mean?
Baseball with the first baseman.
As soon as it touches the glove?
It's like when it goes inside the glove. I don't even think it has to touch it, right?
Yeah.
But like in the NFL, what is it? They can't start at the catch on the kickoff, or is it when he touches it? It's got to be when he touches it, right? Because nobody knows what catches in the NFL, right?
Yeah. As soon as he touches it, yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, starter's pistol, man. Bang. Then everybody just goes.
Well, they were saying that a lot of teams, they have like special, like, I guess, trick plays, things that they're not, like, they kind of kept it vanilla where you just see it, the traditional, but supposedly there's going to be a lot of trickery going on.
I know. That's what I mean. It's just going to turn into a circus.
Yeah, but that's what people like.
If your team stinks, that's what you like. But if your team's good and you lose a game because some some team made up some new play
There's just
to
something
exploit
about
this dumb rule.
when someone returns a kick in a reasonable amount of yards or for a touchdown, it just makes it exciting. Just even like that Charlie Jones, like when you think he can.
Look, if they return it like legit, yeah, I agree. It's a good play. But if they do something funky to like exploit this weird starting time thing, it's like
just
ridiculous.
Down to the teams that are the most disciplined. That's going to benefit it the most.
Yeah, I guess they're gonna do some weird Frank Wycheck stuff, you know.
No, there's going to be really creative things. I mean, think about the guy from Miami, and I feel like the dude from the Rams, like McVay, like they're coaches that really think of that stuff. And I'm sure we'll have a few plays, but I think we'll just keep it mainly basic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It seemed like we were doing pretty decent on the returns, especially against the Colts. It seemed like we had quite a few decent returns.
Yeah.
I feel like the one game we just had a lot of penalties. But yeah, no, Matt Lee, I feel like he looked really good. I think he pretty much solidified himself as the backup center.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked about Mims already. Burton. Oh yeah. Eric All. He played a lot more in the third game.
Yeah.
And some of the things I'd heard about him in training camp is that he's actually a pretty good blocker.
Yeah.
And I saw him make some pretty good blocks in that Colts game against their starters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's like another one of those players where it's like, I know people are kind of like, oh, why did we draft him up kind of early? And hey, shout out to us for always picking Eric All.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did do that.
Yeah, I mean, he was like our number one target, and then I think Mims was probably the second.
Yeah. To be fair, though, we were using the PFF simulator, and we were able to get Eric Hall in like the 7th round every time.
Yeah. But even when he went up a little bit, I think we picked him because I think the thing was that no one knew when he was going to come back. And same thing with us. It's like when we drafted him, there was speculation that he was just going to start the season on IR.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he's playing now, I mean, it makes the pick look even better. And if he continues to block the way he's doing it, I think a lot of people are going to really like him. And it's just like, some of this, like they would put him in motion, to the, like past the tackle. And like every time he would cut that person that would come off the edge and just like stonewall him. And it just, I was like, man, that's going to be nice. Because I just feel like that was some of the things that were missing. I think Sample can block well like that, but to have a tight end like All that has a little bit more explosiveness, than Sample. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I like Sample. I like because like I just think he's a really good blocker, and it's just like, and when you have a team like the Bengals with Burrow, you just want to give him a little bit more time, and it feels like this could be the year where he actually has a little bit more time to throw. It seems like we have the right pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover in the preseason as far as the games.
So we're going to talk about these cuts.
Hold on. 2 things.
Oh.
Money Mac extension, maybe 3, because we could kind of talk about Jamar's extension, but shout out to Mac, Money Mac, McPherson.
Yeah.
Getting that extension. And then the all orange, or I guess not all orange. Well, I guess they have that combo, but the.
Yeah, I was looking for like
pants.
pictures of their uniform combination.
I feel like if you go back to their Twitter, I bet you might have to scroll back a little bit. Maybe it won't be too far because I think they made the announcement relatively soon that or recent that they're going to do the all orange.
I should scroll slower because I'm sure everybody watching will get motion sickness.
I feel like it won't be too much further past this because I feel like this is about the time when they made the announcement about the all orange. I like it. I know some people can't stand it, but I think it looks sharp. And I feel like was it you that said that should have done the all orange instead of the all white for the color rush?
Yeah, I was talking about that. I thought it was kind of crazy. I mean, I appreciate the shout out to the zoo and the white tigers, which is cool, but at the same time, they're wearing orange helmets, right? No, they have white helmets, right?
Well, the time that they did
There we go.
The time that they did the all like the color rush, all white with and black stripes, they still had just the orange helmets with the black stripes. And then like a few years after that, they finally did the all white helmet with the black stripes, which again, we kind of predicted. So
yeah, I like the orange. I think it looks good.
Yeah,
I think Browns fans are complaining about it, or the Browns maybe, because I think they were all orange before the Bengals, or they had orange pants for sure before the Bengals, but I think it's a cleaner look.
I mean, that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of silly to. I mean, I guess I can kind of see it from this perspective that like when people started or other teams started to do the all white helmets, it just felt like they kind of got lazy with it. There wasn't much to it. They just made it white with just the normal team logo. To where it's like I feel like with the Bengals, it represents the actual Bengal, like it's not something like that's not real or made up. It's like an actual thing. To me, that's what makes it cool. Except for the black jerseys with the orange stripes, that's kind of different, but the concept is like a real thing, So that's why I've always liked the Bengals jerseys, because it actually represents, I guess, real life in a way. Well, I shouldn't say real life, but like animal.
Well, I'm just saying they are wearing them in real life, so.
Well, yeah,
you are correct about the real life thing.
Well, but I guess what I'm trying to say, like, what's a good team? I guess the Browns is a perfect example.
Oh, okay.
Like, their logo is an elf. Like, what is that?
I don't know.
How do you
I'm not going to get into arguments over logos and mascots.
Yeah, I guess it's not that big of a deal. But I guess that's why I think it makes the Bengals logos and stuff a little bit more unique. It's a little bit more realistic, I guess is what I'm trying to say in short form. But yeah, I can't wait to see it. It's gonna look nice. And we're playing against
the Hey, I'm pushing for the fat leaping tiger as the alternate uniform in homage to the backbone of the team, the lineman. I want to see him do like the kind of like the man-eating tiger, just like big gut on it. Tired of these athletic-looking tigers. I want like a big boy tiger.
The one that's well-fed.
Yeah, well-fed man-eating tiger. Yeah, represent the offensive and defensive linemen.
Maybe if they win, a few Super Bowls, they can get a bigger Bengal.
Yeah, I have to dig up my drawing, and maybe we can pitch that.
There you go.
Yeah.
We should just fax the Bengals or something.
Yeah, we probably should, because I mean, at this point, like, I'm sure Mike Brown's still got a fax machine.
Right, and no one's using
it's probably like the only way to get directly to him is to fax him something.
We get excited. He'd be like, I haven't been faxed in 10 years.
He'd be like, the fax machine's going. Is that the fax news? It's like, no, wait, it's a new logo?
It'd be like the Browns trade went through. Wasn't that what happened when you're?
Yeah, like something happened with the fax machine, right?
Yeah.
But who was it for?
It was from the Browns. It was for our backup quarterback at the time. The dude from Alabama. I can't think of his name.
Oh yeah, AJ McCarron. Like the Browns were going to trade us like 5 first-round picks for AJ McCarron.
They were probably about to give us something crazy, but
it was something crazy.
Because I think it was like a second-round pick.
Yeah.
It was just because Hugh Jackson was familiar with him, and it's like he thought he would be good to to go to the Browns.
You could have just stopped at Hugh Jackson. It was because of Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
Both that it almost happened, but then also that it fell through.
Maybe they did that on purpose because they're like, we can't do this. Not for a second round pick.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to prove
whatever round
that.
pick it would have been, you know.
Yeah, we traded what? We traded what for who?
But yeah, I'm not sure if you want to touch on Jamar Chase. Oh, I guess the only thing I want to say about Jamar Chase is that I feel pretty confident. And if anything about Jamar Chase in the contract, I predict it'll be in September. That's when I think he'll sign. Probably, I would say September 2nd or 3rd. Maybe, yeah, September 2nd. That way he'll have 3 days of practice before they go into the first week. That makes the most sense to me. Because if you look at the really big contracts for the Bengals, so Burrow and the last big AJ Green contract, it went basically like the week before the season started.
Yeah.
Signed him.
I just feel like there's some kind of check that gets deposited from the NFL that they're waiting on.
Yeah. It could be like a cash flow thing, and maybe they just have to literally wait one more month, September, to get that signing. But I got me a Jamar Chase rookie card signed.
Oh yeah,
Today.
Signed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it?
Online from the NFL store. It's a 10 rating. Beckett. So I probably jinxed the signing, but
I know you like those prisms, right? Is that a prism?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a basic one, but I liked it because it actually says Who Day on it.
Okay.
So I don't really see many signatures where they actually have the Who Day.
I'm sure he signed Who Day?
Yeah, he signed Who Day. Yeah, it just says
Nice.
Jamar Chase. He put the number 1 and then Who Day.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
It was like the trifecta. Because it's like sometimes you just get the name, but then you got the name, number, and then for a Bengals fan, Who Day is like that's probably the best thing you could sign or say as a Bengals player. But yeah, I guess we can get it into the roster, and I guess some predictions or what we think.
We want to talk about the cuts.
Yeah, I mean,
Anything jump out here?
No, I mean, business as usual. Jackson Carman.
Anything jump out?
Well, I think there was speculation. I think a lot of people thought he was going to get cut, but maybe not towards maybe a little bit more later into the process, and maybe he might make it to the practice squad. But I mean, I think they let him go early. It might be a mutual thing too, where instead of just trying to get him onto the practice squad, he wants to see if he can get another opportunity somewhere else. Because I know sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a change of scenery would help.
I think so. Yeah, I think so for him because I feel like he still has potential. It's just the Bengals weren't getting it out of him. So.
Yeah, I still think he looked good in that in the playoff run.
Yeah,
a few years ago, but I mean, it's hard to say he looked good this preseason. So
no, and you know when he had those 3 or 4 penalties in that, I guess it was against the Bears. That was pretty much. I think that's pretty much what sealed the deal because they barely. He didn't get until in the Colts game until the very end. So it's like that's pretty much sending a message, and that shows it. He was one of the first people cut, and they cut the Butler, Kane, college free agent. Butler, I think, came from the XFL. I want to say. I believe it was that guy, but yeah. Can't remember Carter. I know Casey was another college free agent. Alan George, that seems kind of early. I know he's kind of been on the roster here and there. I don't know. It feels like some of these people, especially like him, because it feels like why wouldn't we try to keep him on the practice squad, Alan George?
I
guess the same thing with Lassiter, but I think again sometimes you cut some of these people early to kind of help them out because if they want to get more playing time, it's kind of like okay. We'll cut you early, see what teams, if they are interested. And then I think sometimes it works in your favor because if they see no one else is interested, it's more likely they're going to come back, right? Because if there's only one team interested, then
Yeah. No, I feel like if you're a player, you want to get cut earlier because it gives you more chance to sign. But because I guess they got like a full week to catch on someplace else, right?
mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I feel like the Bengals did it super early.
When do they have to get down to the 53?
I don't know. I can Google it real quick.
Okay, why don't you Google it? I'll pull up the depth chart.
53 and roster. Fine. It says August 27th. That's only 4 days. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's not that much of a difference, but that makes sense. Wait, 4 days, 27th. That is okay. So that's Tuesday. Okay, that makes sense because that's only 9 days before the first game. The first game of the season's on the Thursday, which is the 5th. So, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, the final cut down goes into the week before the first NFL week. But, yeah, do you think there's going to be any surprising, I guess, cuts or players that make the team? Anyone stand out to you?
The only thing that kind of stands out is just the number of tight ends. Because there's some talk about Tanner McLaughlin. And then if you look at what they did last year, they kept 3 tight ends last year. And so Drew Sample, Gesicki, for sure on the team, right? Eric Hall. So that's 3. So that leaves Tanner Hudson and Tanner McLaughlin out. And then if they kept 4, then you got cut back at another position, obviously. But which one do you cut? Which one do you keep? I mean, I don't know. That's a huge issue. I mean,
well, I think they keep 4 tight ends because if you go back to that roster last year, they kept 4 running backs and only 3 tight ends, and I think it flips. I think
so you think 3 running backs? So you think Chase Brown, Travion Williams, and Zach Moss?
Yep. And then
so then you would keep the 4 tight ends, but which tight end do you get rid of?
I think the odd personality is actually Hudson.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially if all keeps playing the way he does, then it's like the less you actually need Hudson. Because Hudson is like, I'm sure I don't know. I don't know how well he actually blocks, but I mean, to me, when I watch Eric Hall in this preseason, like the way he blocks is noticeable. I haven't really noticed that with Hudson. Yeah, obviously, he's actually a pretty good passing threat as far as or receiving threat as far as being a tight end. But I think you get that with Tanner McLaughlin, and I feel like you would keep the younger guy to develop him more, right? So you would your 4 would be Drew Sample, Gesicki, All, and McLaughlin, and you would probably just Tanner McLaughlin would be, I guess, on the bench most of the year. I feel like he would be inactive a lot unless one of the tight ends did get hurt. Especially the way I've seen All play, because I feel like, I don't know. It's just like he's eventually going to take Drew Sample's spot. I feel like if he keeps playing the way he's playing. But that would be my 4. And if it flipped, I could see that too. But I think it would hurt more if they lost McLaughlin after a cut than it would be Hudson, in my opinion.
And then like the other thing is like wide receivers. So last year they kept 6.
I think they do the same. It's basically going to be the same roster or receiver core, except instead of oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name?
Tyler Boyd.
Instead of Boyd,
Jermaine Burton.
which is like, I feel like we gotten better overall as a core because it's just like you get a little bit quicker. And don't get me wrong, Boyd was really great for the Bengals, but it's just like you get a little bit more quicker on offense with that switch. Plus, all those first-year players last year, Yosevich and Charlie Jones, they get that much better this year. And it's just like, it feels like we keep seeing a lot of highlights between Yosevich and Jones this offseason, during training camp and the preseason. Seems like they keep coming up big, whether it's returns or catches. Yeah, Yosevich didn't play at all in the third game.
Yeah. So then safety seems pretty well set, right? They're going to keep 4. But I was wondering how many they keep last year. They had 1.
They had 4.
So 4 safeties, and then 1, 2, 3.
It would be 6 DBs.
4.
Or cornerbacks.
I'm sorry. 6 corners. So there's really not much going on there then, right? It's like...
No, because you probably keep Britt, Turner, Hill, Newton,
Ivy and Brooks.
No,
I don't know who Nate Brooks is.
No, not Brooks. It'd be Hilton.
And yeah. There you go. I forgot about the nickel.
And then Dejon Anthony, I think, would be the last as a 6.
But they have him listed as a safety.
Yeah, but I think he could play both technically.
Okay.
Because he would technically take over Jalen Davis' position, which is kind of like more of a nickel.
Yeah.
So it would be like Hilton's backup, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they really like him there. And I think DJ Ivy might actually start on IR.
Okay.
That would make the most sense to me. I guess we don't know about McKinley Jackson, if he's healthy enough to make the season. And also Murphy, I guess, would be another one that might start on the year on IR.
Oh, you're talking about defensive end?
Yeah, Miles Murphy.
Yeah.
And then McKinley Jackson got hurt like 2 weeks ago. But
yeah, so last year they kept 10 defensive linemen.
I think they keep the 5 linebackers. I think they can get away with keeping 10 secondary.
Yeah, so Bailey's gone. Davis Gaither's gone. So they basically 2 new linebackers.
Because your safeties would be Stone, Bell, Battle, and...
Oh, wait. I didn't realize. I thought Davis Gaither was gone.
No,
He's still on the team?
him. Yeah, so, we re-signed him. So we'll have Pratt, Wilson, Gaither, Bocce.
And then probably the undrafted free agent guy.
Yeah, John Meta.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Hopefully Hayward can make it to the practice squad because I do like him as a backup. But I thought maybe Bocce was hurt. I feel like he got hurt, but maybe he'll be back by the season.
Okay.
But I think they definitely keep 5 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers. I think that stays the same. And I think they keep 10 defensive linemen.
Yeah, that's what they did last year. So you got Hubbard. So the starting 4.
Yeah.
So at least 6 spots. Well, Osai's going to be back. That's 5. And then you say these 2 guys are hurt.
Well, Murphy's hurt, so he might potentially start in the IR, but...
Okay. And then you got Jenkins for sure, so that's 6.
Yeah.
And then McKinley Jackson, if he's not hurt.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah. But I like the way Tufele was playing.
I
hope
like
he makes it.
Yeah, me too.
So then, kind of like on the bubble or Sample, Carter. Is that it?
Well, Davis. I do think Cedric Johnson makes it regardless of Murphy's, because I think they usually keep 5 defensive ends altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. 5 defensive ends, 5 defensive tackles.
Yeah, that's what they did last year. Except they have Sample and Osai listed as both. But
yeah, I think if Sample didn't get hurt, I think they would actually. Yeah, I think Carter would have been cut.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because he got hurt, I think he stays. And I'm excited to see McKinley Jackson play.
Me too. He was one of my favorites when we were looking at guys that potentially the Bengals could draft, and I was pretty excited when they drafted him.
Yeah, it was weird because like we were pretty high on him, and I feel like we got the round right, but everyone was like, at the time that it happened, they were like, "Oh, we drafted him too early."
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter.
That's because they didn't. That's because they didn't look and see who he was.
Well, that and he was literally the last like nose tackle that was really like in the draft available. So you could potentially wait. Like if we would have picked him in the 4th round, it would have been the greatest thing ever. But the fact that we got him in the 3rd round, it was like, ugh. But then it was like we had 2 picks in the 3rd round. The first one we got was Burton. So it's like you can kind of do what they did. But then if you look at what they did, they got him and then they got All right afterwards. And I think when you see how the year plays out and if All continues to block the way he does, and because he's truly like a dual threat. He may not be like a vertical threat, but I think he can be pretty shifty as a receiver. And I suspect, especially with him coming back with that knee injury, if all things continue to go well, like he'll just continue to get faster and stronger as the year goes on. Because like I don't think it's been a full year since he's recovered from his injury. I don't think, because he got hurt in, I guess it would have been October, maybe. Is that right? Because he only played 4 or 5 games, so it would be all of September. So I would imagine he got hurt in October. So it hasn't been a full year that he's been healed. So in a way, I feel like he'll actually continue to get better as the year goes on, like as far as health wise.
Okay.
Strong, agility. And I'm actually pretty excited about the defensive backs too. I think Dax Hill showed a lot in the preseason. And then I feel like Newton is a pretty solid player. Like, definitely wouldn't want him starting now, especially going in against some of the receivers we're going to go against. But for him to be the 4th DB, I think that's really strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're starting to see some of the benefits of stability, kind of show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think with this team the way it is, especially with the coaching staff, they pretty much know who they want to bring in, and they just consistently do it. And I think when you have the same coaches year in and year out, it's easier to build on, because like whenever a new coach comes in, they have to switch everything out because they're going to have different core values or the way they like to scheme things up. But it's weird. It's because like I feel like we talked about it the last couple of years. Where we got to start off strong. Like we've talked about it. It's not something that the team has mentioned or anything.
Yeah, it's a preview for the schedule analysis and the record prediction.
Yeah,
so
we'll do that next week, next Friday.
Next week. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like we talked about what we were planning on talking about. You just want to go ahead and end it, or do you got something else you want to say?
No. Uday.
I'm going to hold this pose for as long as it takes for you to find the button. No. Peace. This.